everybody, and welcome to the At the Love Adoptions podcast. My name is Alyssa, and I'm here with my mom, Heidi. Today, we have Kellen, who is also known as that one adopted guy on TikTok, who has been so kind as to kind of share his story and experiences as an adoptee with us. Well, thank you so much for kind of sitting down and chatting with us. We're
Yeah.
excited for all this.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me. It's my pleasure.
No.
Of course.
Okay, so like I said before, you get to tell us your beautiful adoption story. How old you were, how you feel about it, growing up, all of it. We're here.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's great, and I'm really excited to be able to share my story. Yeah, I think it's kind of important to start a few years before I was born. Actually, just to give a little bit of context as to the circumstances that led to my adoption. So my parents, my adopted parents, they actually they were both raised in a small town in Wyoming,
Mm.
Afton, Wyoming, or Star Valley, Wyoming, and they grew up there. When after they got married and had kids, they moved back there. But my dad was looking for some more career opportunities, and so he moved my family, and at that time they had four kids
Mm.
to Northwest Washington, kind of close to the Canadian border, in a little town called Ferndale, Washington. And
Okay.
he got a job working in city government there, and they really enjoyed their time there. And while he was there, he actually received a church calling as a seminary teacher,
Okay.
and
Mm.
so um, he was teaching early morning seminary, and they one of his students was named Kelly Smith. Now, Kelly Smith is my birth mother,
Oh, okay.
and she and her family were in the same ward at the time as my parents. They the same church, the same congregation,
Yeah.
and so they knew each other through church, and then um, my dad being her seminary teacher, they formed a really good relationship too.
Yeah.
So that's how she became acquainted with my family. While my family was in the Pacific
Wow.
Northwest, they actually had another set of twins, my older sister, and my older brother,
Mhm.
that are about 17 months older than I am. And not long after my brother and sister were born, they actually moved back to Wyoming, back to
Okay.
Star Valley.
Okay.
Um, and around that time period, my birth mom, her name was Kelly. She was born in Canada. Um, Her parents moved to Ferndale when she was, I think, either in middle school or high school. And while she was in high school, she became a star athlete, a school record holder. I think she broke five school records
Wow.
in
Mm.
track and field. So she was a big deal,
Okay.
and
Wow.
was a really good student, very well liked, and ended up graduating high school. Decided not to pursue track and field in college, and while she was kind of in between school or high school and going to college, she was working, and she met um, my biological father, whose name is Andy Phillips. Andy, very similar to Kelly in terms of the household he grew up in. He was a star
Mhm.
athlete as a football player,
Hmm.
and did well in school, very well liked. And they
Yeah.
started dating, and shortly after they started dating, Kelly got pregnant. And anyway, at the time, they were really young. They both were not far removed from high school,
Yeah.
and it became apparent too that in terms of their compatibility, getting married and raising me probably wasn't going to be an option. And so um, they actually ended up breaking up, and they made the decision that adoption was going to be the best option for me. Um, the problem is Kelly had a really hard time with it because it was, obviously the love of a birth mother,
Yeah.
and um, was having a really hard time when it came to selecting a family
Okay.
to place me with. And So she spent a lot of time going through files and applications and a lot of time praying and just didn't have a good feeling about any of the files that she was going through.
Yeah.
And she kind of came to the conclusion, like, if I don't feel 100% about a certain family, I'm not going to place this baby up for adoption. I'll just keep them.
Yeah.
'Cause it has to feel right. Anyway, so she and my grandma were in church. I think she was several months into her pregnancy, and while they were there, they ran into my adoptive parents, the Hansons, who
Okay.
were back up in Ferndale, just to visit. And um, they noticed Kelly was pregnant. And at the time, it's actually really interesting because Kelly didn't want my parents to see her pregnant
Oh,
because
Oh no, yeah.
she was kind of embarrassed about it.
yeah.
But they ran into her anyway, and they just embraced her and treated her like they always did because they had so much love for her. And um, my 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 grandmother, my birth mom's mom, had
Mhm.
actually recalled my mom once saying that they had always wanted to adopt. And remember, at this time, my mom and dad had 6 kids, and
And
they had
their youngest ones were twins, right?
they had twins that were
That's a
at that
lot.
time probably a year old.
Oh no.
So yeah, so
Oh my
they've got
gosh.
divers. They've got 4 other kids,
Yeah.
all under the age of 13, I think, or 12, all under the age of 12 at that time,
Yeah.
Wow.
and very busy lives. But
Yeah.
it's funny because my grandma just said, kind of almost jokingly, like, "Hey, would you want to adopt this baby?" And my mom, Jenny, she just instantly said, "Absolutely," like no hesitation.
Yeah.
Um, and they kind of talked about it a little bit more. And my grandma mentioned it to Kelly and said, would you be interested in the Hansons? And she kind of thought, you know what, that's interesting. I'll keep them in mind. Um, Reached out to my family, let them know, like, yeah, send an application and maybe like a letter as to why you think this would be a good fit. And they did.
Yeah.
And it was great, but it wasn't until she was actually having dinner with some family friends that knew my family really well too,
Mhm.
and they were talking about just the experiences with my family.
Yeah.
And of those, my 6 older siblings, 4 of them are brothers,
Yeah.
and you know
Mm.
how rambunctious boys get. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
when they were the family that Kelly was talking to, they were talking about the Hansons and how they had a hot dog roast with them, and how the 4 boy or 3 of the boys were all getting in a fight over who could pee on the fire to put it out. Right? So that's the type of family that the Hansons are, right? They're
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
just
No.
fun,
Crazy
energetic
fun.
Yeah.
boys.
Yeah.
And Kelly laughed so hard at that, and she just in that moment got the feeling like, I think that's
That
the
would be
family,
perfect.
Yeah, this is it.
right? Like I think this is like this. I want my boy to grow up in that. Like
Yeah.
I want my boy to have that type of atmosphere, because a lot of the families, like, um she had grown up in a family that was really close. Unfortunately, her parents divorced when she was in high school. I don't know if I'd mentioned that earlier, but
Mhm.
she had 3 siblings and they were all really close, and so she grew up in a great environment. And I probably should mention this too, she actually has a younger brother. I have an uncle named Tyler who was
Mhm.
adopted as a baby, and that really
Oh,
opened a lot of doors too,
okay.
for her
Yes.
being like, yeah, adoption. Like, I think of how much we loved my little brother
Yeah.
Tyler.
Yeah.
um,
Hmm.
Anyway, so she decided that the Hansons were the family for me.
Hmm.
Contacted them, and they were just so excited, right?
Yeah.
Sorry,
No, you're good.
but like, uh, they also recognized the heartbreak, I
Yeah.
think,
Yeah.
um,
That
that
comes
goes
with
along. So there was a lot of, like, there was so much love
yeah.
and compassion, um, but again, just elation, right?
Yes.
Mm.
Yeah.
But it was great because now Kelly has the assurity that I was going to go to the right family. My family knows that they're going to get me, which was great.
Yes.
Um, so anyways, time goes by. I was born on September 3rd, so I was 2 weeks before my due date.
Okay.
And my grandma and my birth mom, they had this whole adventure of like me coming early, and they had to go from Seattle to Ferndale, which is about an hour and a half, 2 hour drive. Anyways, I
Wow.
I was born in not in Ferndale. I was born in Mount Vernon, Washington,
Okay.
and in Skagit Valley Hospital. And yeah, I was in the hospital for 3 days with my birth mom. They obviously they let my parents know that I was coming, so that they
Yeah.
could travel from Wyoming to Washington.
Washington.
Yeah.
But my birth mom just wanted 3 days in the hospital,
Would you? Yes.
just to just to love me
Yep.
and spend that time.
Yeah.
And and yeah, 3 days went by, and my parents came, and yeah, they picked me up and took me back to Wyoming,
Okay.
and I ended up immediately. It was an open adoption, but there were some parameters, right?
Okay.
Um, my I think all parties felt it best that I don't deal with too much confusion. That there definitely be a distinction between like um,
Biological and adoptive
yeah,
family.
yeah.
Yeah.
But
Hmm.
again, like they wanted Kelly to like be able to observe my life,
Yeah.
and my grandma Cheryl actually they allowed for her to come visit several times
Yeah.
before. Anyways, Kelly after she finished. After that, she went to Rick's College, got accepted to Rick's College, now
Okay.
BYU Idaho, but at the time it was Rick's College in
Yeah.
Rexburg,
Yeah.
Idaho.
I
Um,
remember Rex. I went down there for a what was that the the youth camp that they would
yeah,
do down at the school. So I yeah,
yeah,
I traveled down there for one of those when I was a teenager.
yeah.
Long
So
time ago.
yeah, I ended up or so I was in Wyoming. She was in Rick's, and she went to a semester of school there at Rick's College and
Okay.
loved it.
Yeah.
Got to have the college experience.
Yeah.
Went back for the summer to be at home and work before she was going to go back to Rick's in the fall. And she actually, while she was home, she got back with one of her boyfriends from high school, and I think they were actually talking about marriage. At this time, I had been adopted by my
Yeah.
family.
Yeah. And
Um,
you were like what, one or so when this is going on?
yeah, I would have been about
Mhm.
8 or 9 months.
9 months. Okay.
And Kelly would have been, she was 19 when I was born, so she would have been about, I think she had just turned 20. She turned 20 in May.
Okay.
Hmm.
Um, anyway, she was home, and she decided my grandma, her mom, and my aunt Jolene, and Jolene is she's blind, and she's mentally disabled
Okay.
as well.
Okay.
Anyway, they went to go to Ferndale for a track banquet for my uncle Tyler,
Okay.
her younger brother.
Okay.
When they were driving back from the banquet, they were um, they were driving, and a car driven by a young kid. He was probably about 19 or 20, about the same age as my birth mom.
Mhm.
He fell asleep behind the wheel and
Mm.
crossed the median and hit them head on.
Oh my gosh.
And most of the impact actually went onto the passenger side, which is where Kelly was
Oh
sitting.
Gosh.
And my grandma Cheryl and my aunt Jolene, they actually both were able to, they survived with minor injuries, but Kelly ended up passing away due to internal injuries as well as thermal injuries. And at that time, I was I was 8 months old, 9 months old, so I didn't
Yeah.
have really
Yeah.
much of a I didn't have any concept of it.
No.
But it
Yeah.
was incredibly hard on my parents.
Yeah.
I can
Um,
only imagine.
That would be
and they
horrible.
got the news that it had happened, and they instantly, booked
Yeah.
flights.
Around
They
there.
took
Yeah.
me with them
Yeah.
to Washington to Kelly's funeral.
Yeah.
And at the time, I couldn't have known it, but um, my parents, they told my grandma Cheryl instantly, you have full access to Kellen's life.
Yeah.
Like you you have whatever you want.
Yeah.
And that was that was a huge blessing because
Yeah.
I think about it now. I mean, she lost her grandbaby to
Yeah.
adoption, right?
Yeah.
Mm.
And then she loses her daughter
Yeah.
tragically, inexplicably.
Yeah.
And my parents just said, "You are a part of our family.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Please." I can't overstate. Um, I cannot overstate how good of people my parents are.
Yeah.
Like I cannot express that enough.
They're
Um,
amazing people.
Yeah.
and not only did they bring her in, but she came in and there was 6 other kids, and she adopted all of my
Yeah.
adopted siblings.
She
All of
gained
all of
six
my
grandchildren.
Yeah.
all of my brothers and sisters call her grandma.
Yeah.
And she, like, growing up, she would always come visit us, but there would be times where, like, she would drive halfway and my parents would drive halfway,
Yeah.
and she would take me and my siblings with her. Like, she would
Oh,
take the twins with her to come
yeah.
to her house. And she would take, I think at one point or another, all of my siblings have been at her house
Yeah.
without my parents there and stayed the night. I've had siblings that have lived with her for
Oh,
a
wow.
summer.
Yeah.
And
Because
she is
that's grandma to
Yeah.
everyone then.
that's grandma to everyone,
Yeah.
and she
That's
became my parent. She's best friends with my parents, and she
yeah.
actually, she remarried when I was only like 3 or 4 months old before Kelly died. My grandpa Scott, who's my
Mhm.
step grandpa, but I mean step grandpa. I hate that because like he was 100% my grandpa,
Yeah.
and he
Yeah.
also became like my best friend and an amazing figure in the lives of all my siblings, and he became best friends with my parents as well. And so it ended up like being one of those, here's a tragedy, but here is good coming out of the tragedy.
Yeah.
Um,
Mhm.
Yeah.
yeah, I was so blessed in that aspect to have that access to Kelly's family, to her mom and her siblings, my aunts and uncles that I've been super close to.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, that's kind of like the story of my adoption and the whole story of Kelly.
Yeah.
Um,
I
but
mean,
yeah,
just hearing your story, you can see how God was involved in the whole thing. Um, because if she would have kept you, you probably would have been in that car
yeah,
and not have
Mhm.
made it either.
100%. I would have been in the back seat right
Right
behind her,
behind her.
right?
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
her seat was pushed back. Yeah, I wouldn't
Yep.
have survived that. If I would have
No.
survived, I would have had serious physical ailments.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
for sure.
And so I just think of all the little steps. I mean, the chance meeting, that your parents
Yeah,
went back while she was pregnant and she didn't want them
Yeah.
to be there.
for
All
her
those.
to even for my parents to even be in Ferndale, Washington, right? I
Yeah.
mean,
I
Yeah.
mean, initially, yeah,
of
that's
all
where I got
places,
the job. And as a seminary teacher.
and they weren't even there for a very long time. I mean, they
Yeah.
ended up only being there for a year and a half, 2 years, moving back to Wyoming.
Yeah.
But just yeah, I mean, I think the hand of God in all of it is so clear,
Yeah.
and just the the fact that I ended up with a family that would be so open for me to have
Yes.
Mhm.
that relationship with my
Yeah.
grandma Cheryl.
Yeah.
Um, and I ended up in a situation where I, I I always like when I tell my adoption story to people, I always have to remind myself and sometimes others that like
Mhm.
there's um there's not very many adoptions where it's such an ideal situation, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
obviously it
definitely.
wasn't ideal for Kelly to die.
Yeah.
Like that
Yeah.
that was horrible. But
Yeah.
like you look at it and you look at what came from it. And the fact that I was able to have such a close relationship with my grandma Cheryl. And I don't think I would have been able to be nearly as close with her if
Yeah.
if
Mhm.
Kelly hadn't passed away. Obviously, we prefer to have Kelly on this
Yeah.
earth still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
when you look at the blessings that come, there's a song that I love called Flowers, and it says flowers grow in the valley, right?
Yeah.
When we're at our lowest moments, that's when, and if we allow God to take over, he will, beauty can come from ashes, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Uh,
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I was so blessed to have that connection with my grandma Cheryl and my aunt Amanda, Kelly's one of Kelly's other sister, my uncle
Mhm.
Tyler, my grandpa Scott, my aunt Jolene.
Yeah.
Um,
Mhm.
so it's been a huge blessing to have that relationship with all of them.
Well,
Um,
and it sounds like your parents were ahead of the times because open adoption wasn't
yeah,
didn't
Yeah.
become a big thing until after the fact, and so that they were already doing that, and that was their mindset. It's beneficial. Yeah, it was beneficial for you and for her family with losing her. I mean, because if
yeah,
you went to some other family, who knows if they would allowed that to happen or
Mhm.
that relationship to grow. And so it kind of goes along with how I feel personally because I've adopted all four of my children, Alyssa being my oldest.
Mhm.
And um, I strongly believe that there's specific children for specific families. It's just though, I mean,
yeah,
just like if you have a child
Yeah.
biologically, I just couldn't have, they couldn't come to me that way. They had to come to me a different way.
yeah,
Mhm.
But this poor girl couldn't be more like me than if I did have her biologically. She
Yeah,
just,
we're a lot alike. It's so funny. I get told all the time. I even sound like my mom, my aunt. I pick up the phone and they like think I'm her, or like they're like, "You say exactly what your mom would say."
she does.
Like
I
yeah.
there
hear
is
that
like
too.
no
She
more
like throws
proof
me.
that that is was supposed to be your mom.
Yeah. Well, I just think like I always hear the genetic versus the nature versus nurture,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Hmm.
And it's like I think of I mean, obviously genetics are super strong, but like I
Yeah.
feel the same way as you do, Alyssa.
Yeah.
Like,
Hmm.
I mean, people are always surprised to find out I'm adopted. That
Yeah.
don't know that know my adoptive family. Like growing up,
Yeah.
I never people were always like, oh, I did not know you were adopted. Man, I can't
Yeah.
believe you. Even since I've started posting, I've had people that I grew up in my community
Mhm.
and said I had no idea that you were adopted. I just always assumed
Mhm.
because I
Yeah.
think like traits and characteristics and
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
it's what you it's who you are. It's who they establish. I mean, I believe that everybody has like their soul, right? Like how they're
Yeah.
created by God. But I also
Mhm.
think that we are a product of the people who love us,
Yeah.
Yes,
right?
for sure.
And so, I mean, Alyssa, you say people they just know that you're Heidi's daughter
Yeah.
because you are Heidi's daughter, right? Like
Yeah.
because like
She
she
is.
just has put so much love into you and vice versa
Hmm.
that you are each other's. And I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
that's one of those beautiful things is like growing up, with six older siblings. Like I was their brother. I
Yeah.
was my parents' son. And not even that, but like I think and I want to hear your guys' take on this, but like it's so important that the people that you surround your kids with, your adopted children with, need to be 100% on board. This
Hmm.
is our family member. Like I cannot express how important I think it is, not only for your immediate family to just like embrace that child and
Yeah.
this is our baby, but for
Yeah.
aunts and uncles and
Yeah.
cousins and grandparents. Because I,
Yeah.
I can talk about personally, like I am the favorite nephew to so many of my aunts and uncles. It just embraced me right away, right?
Yeah.
And like cousins and I was lucky too that like I have four cousins that are adopted as well,
Okay.
um, from my adopted family. So,
Mhm.
like, it was something that kind of was happening in our family, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, like, I was embraced. And from the time I was born, like, I was always part of the family. Like, I was
Yeah.
always a Hanson.
Yeah.
And,
Mhm.
I understand not every adopted kid gets that experience.
No.
Like,
Yeah.
it 100% breaks my heart. Um, but I think that if, for parents that, are adopting, like that is so big is make sure that like their support system, the people that are going to be around, like,
Yeah.
yes, it's important for them to know, like, I think it's important for kids to know, like they're adopted. Like,
Yeah.
I
Hmm.
think that's an
Definitely.
important, to help them to establish like their own identity. But I also they need the support of the people that they're going to be around. They don't need to feel othered, and I never felt othered. I never
Yeah.
felt like I was anything but
Their
part of that.
child.
One
And
hundred.
that's the way it
Mhm.
should be. I think my children have a different perspective because, well, I'm the oldest. My mother is the founder of the agency, Kathy Kunkel.
Yeah.
And so she's adopted 8 out of 10 of us. There's 10 of us. And so I have 8 adopted siblings,
Wow.
um, all different races, ethnic backgrounds, I should say.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but so in my home, it was my goal to make my children the majority because they're all African American.
Yeah.
My husband and I are Caucasian. So
Yeah.
we got four. So I was able
Yeah.
to do that. So they are the majority, at least in our home.
Yeah.
But then I have siblings that
Yeah.
are in the same age group as my kids.
Yeah.
So I have a brother, Jerem, and he's right in the middle of my 2 boys, and he was over all the time. So when you were talking about peeing in the fire, I'm like, oh my gosh, I've
That
been
sounds like our
there.
house.
I've
You've seen it.
so
Yeah.
been there.
Yeah.
I was so been there with, I mean, my brother would come over all the time. He
Yeah.
was
He
like,
like lived at our house.
yeah, he lived at our house when he was younger, and I'm like, they did that stuff all the time. Or,
Yeah.
the toilet or something. I'm just like,
Boys
okay.
will be boys.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was funny because that's yeah. And so my children they have cousins and stuff that are adopted, and
Yeah.
so in the big clan, if you see our pictures, the Caucasian people are the minorities
That's beautiful. I love
Yeah.
that.
in the family photos, pretty much. So, and yeah, you can talk. I'm like,
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean,
typing.
she's right. Like, we have like more of a unique perspective, like kind of like adoption is just like kind of like our thing, like
Yeah.
we're just like, because like so many people are. So we're all
Mhm.
kind of like, oh, yeah, you're adopted. You are too. Like, we kind of like all like come
Yeah.
together. We're just like, so just being accepting is so important.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
because there's no difference for um
I mean, yeah, like we make jokes and stuff all the time, but like we don't like really like look at like anybody any different.
no,
Because
Yeah.
we
and that's
have
what I
like
was
both
gonna say.
cousins on, we have some that are adopted and some that aren't, but like we don't, that's just,
Yeah.
we just see, I just see my family.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then and that's how it is for me. I don't see, oh, this is my biological sister and this is my adopted sister. So
Yeah.
my these are my brothers, these are my
Like just
sisters. And
people.
yeah, and these are my children. I couldn't love my children anymore. I can't even imagine. So,
Yeah.
and I we always hated that. I think you said it too, the real thing.
Yeah, that's the TikTok that like kind of drew
Oh,
me to you, where you talk about like real parents
the
versus, I'm
real
like,
parents
what
thing.
is like, that always
Yeah.
like is so weird to me.
I I
I'm
hate
like,
it.
that's well,
Yeah.
like, look, I'm like, that's like my mom. Like, that's she's the
Yeah.
one who like took care of me. Like, she didn't
Right.
birth me, but she's still mom.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is like, and I I don't think people mean it most of the time, and like
No,
they
they
No.
don't.
definitely don't mean it in a bad way. I just
Yeah.
don't think people understand like the language that is
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
associated with adoption, the birth mother, the biological
Yeah.
family, in those terms. Because growing up, somebody said, "Well, your biological mother was this," or that. But like I remember, you know, just the whole real mom, real dad thing. I just used to drive me crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have any real siblings? And I didn't even like being like I didn't even really like people specifying like um your adopted siblings. Like I because to me it
Yeah.
was like, man, for as long as I can remember, we grew up in the same house. We had the same rules.
Yeah.
Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and I knew my siblings they never specified me as the adopted brother.
No,
Yeah.
Because
no,
in
you don't.
fact,
You're just
like
their brother.
I kind of think because I was the baby of the family, like I was spoiled,
Yeah,
right?
I was gonna say
Mm-hmm.
because you were the baby.
Yes.
I
And
remember
Mm-hmm.
it was
it's funny because like even to this day, like I'm 27 years old. My older siblings, they all are like protective of me in like a certain
yeah.
way. Like I'm still the baby
They're
brother.
the baby,
Yeah.
and
They
that
ch-
never
yeah.
changes, right? Yeah,
And I have an amazing relationship with all of my siblings. Like they're all my best friends. Like we
yeah,
we talk a lot. We
that's
always are
great.
checking up on each other, and we just like it was an ideal home. Like it really
Mm-hmm.
was. Obviously, no home is perfect.
Yeah,
But like I have two parents that just love me and love my siblings, and they're good people. I mean, they worked hard to provide for us, but they gave us memories and experiences, and they taught us to be kind, and they taught us to be Christ-like, and they encouraged us to, um, you know, be ambitious and to work hard and reach our goals. And
Mhm.
so, I mean, that's the family that I grew up in,
Yeah.
and I was never anything but that.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
so, um,
They're
and
family.
obviously, when you're adopted, like you're always gonna have, there's always gonna be some identity
Yeah.
Yeah.
issues. I think, yeah, and Alyssa, you would know this. Like, even it has nothing to do with your parents. Like, you
No.
can be in the greatest situation, but there's always going to be that sense of like, man, where do I get this from?
Yeah,
Who,
for
like,
sure.
why am I like this? Or and there's, wanting to understand all the reasons, like, well, why? And I was so blessed because my grandma Cheryl was in my life that she was able to
Yeah.
answer a lot of those questions for me.
Yeah.
I always
Yeah.
knew I was loved on all sides. The
Yeah.
only side I didn't know was was
Your
on my
birth mother.
biological father's side.
Hmm.
Um,
Mhm.
because it wasn't an open adoption. I only knew his name. I knew his name was Andy Phillips, and I had three pictures that
Mhm.
Kelly actually had in her wallet when she was in the car accident. So there's like kind of
Oh.
sin,
Oh wow.
interestingly enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had those three pictures, so I knew what he looked like. Um,
Mhm.
I knew some like vague details, like, oh, he was an athlete, like, oh, he was around this age.
You
But
knew he
like
was
there
a football
wasn't.
player, right?
Yeah, I knew he was a football player. That is true. Yeah, I knew he played football. I knew he was like athletic.
Yeah.
And it's funny because as I got older, like as I got into like my teen years, I I was like, man, like I remember I hadn't seen the photo in a few years, and I looked at it because it was given to from my grandma Cheryl to my parents after Kelly passed away.
Uh-huh.
Um, And I remember looking at a picture of him and being like, "Oh, I'm kind of starting to look like the dude." And but
Yeah.
there was always like a sense of like I wanted to know him. Like I
Hmm.
really wanted to get to know him. And I knew he wasn't a bad dude. Like I knew he wasn't a bad person.
Yeah.
Uh, but I didn't know a ton of details. And I was
Mhm.
so scared of rejection. Like
Yeah.
growing up with I think it was because I was adopted. Like I was scared of rejection, and I had like weird abandonment issues. Like
Mhm.
to where like I always would like I liked being with people. Like I didn't like being by myself, and I
Hmm.
was so afraid of rejection.
Yeah.
Um, but anyway, I was really afraid of rejection with Andy. Anyways, so and then I guess transitioning into like the next part of my story, with Andy in the Phillips. So I started playing sports. I was always a good athlete.
Yeah.
I ran track and field, and I played football, and grew up in a small town where sports are everything, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
And there's a big tradition, and if you're a star athlete, you're like the most well-known person in the community. It's one of those weird things.
Yeah. No. Yes. No.
Yeah,
We
it's
know what
like
you're
what you
talking
see
about.
in movies. It's
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
reality.
Yeah.
100%, 100%. But I did really well, and it's funny because like I'll tell this story. This is really funny. I was always really fast. I was an all-state.
Well, your biological mom was a track star.
Yeah, and Andy and my
Yeah.
biological father too. So like they
Yeah.
always thought my family that adopted me, they're athletic, but they're a different type of athlete. All my brothers are 6'4" and above, right?
Okay.
Like
Yeah.
six
Mhm.
four, 6'5". I have a brother that's 6'7".
Oh
They're
wow.
all offensive linemen, big,
Yeah.
strong
Yeah.
people. My mom's 5'11", my dad's 6. Anyways, they were all linemen, and my dad he's a bigger guy, and when he was in high school, he was an offensive lineman, right?
Okay. Yeah.
And my sophomore year of high school, I was playing in a football game, and I ran a long touchdown. And one of my dad's old football coaches, he had just moved back into the community, and he was talking to one of my dad's really good friends and one of my best friend's dads.
Hmm.
He goes, "Who is that kid that just scored the touchdown?" And he goes, "Oh, that's Jerry Hanson's kid, Kellen." And he laughs, and he's like, that's not Jerry Hanson is not
There's
that
no
guy.
way.
Like, there's no way. And anyway, Lee, my dad's friend, ended up explaining it, and it was a funny story. But anyway, so like as time went on, like I was a junior in high school. Um, had a really good football season. Was all state. We won the state championship. I was MVP of the state championship game, and received a lot of attention just from like the media outlets in Wyoming. And
Yeah.
because it's a small state, right? Like
Yeah.
there's
Hmm.
a disproportionate amount that can go to like certain athletes. Um, Around that time, the Phillips, my grandma Jackie is Andy's mom,
Okay.
and they had the information that they had gotten was so Andy and Kelly had talked after I was born and adopted actually, and they were on really good terms, and they had a really good conversation, and she gave Andy a picture of me
Okay.
and said his name's Kellen. He lives in Wyoming. And that was all the information they had. And Andy, I think, gave the picture to my grandma Jackie.
Mhm.
Um, and it was hard. I mean, it was really hard on the Phillips because they didn't have that same communication with
Yeah.
my family. Like, so they knew nothing about what had happened to me.
No.
And for years, it just was like September 3rd was like this really like sad day because it
Yeah.
was the
Oh
day of the
yeah.
grandbaby that they lost, that they didn't know
Yeah.
what had happened to them,
Yeah.
and they just prayed. And Andy was, but they had, we're not going to look for him yet because we don't want to, we don't know if he knows he's adopted. We don't
Yeah.
want,
They just didn't want to cause
they
you a
wanted to
problem.
respect my life. Um and finally 16, 17 years had gone by, and my grandma Jackie was just like, I can't take this anymore. Like, I don't need to contact him, I just need to know he's okay.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And so she started looking for me. So she
Mhm.
starts looking for Kellen. Didn't have a last name, so
Yeah.
Kellen, Wyoming.
Mhm.
And luckily some articles pop up, right, and some
Yeah, I was
info.
going to say
Oh
because
yeah.
Kellen can't be really popular first
Not
name.
a super popular name. And
No.
she sees my some pictures of me in a football helmet. I can't really tell. So
Yeah.
then she goes on Facebook, social media. She has a last name now. Sees a picture. Oh yeah,
Yeah. She's
that's
Yeah. That's
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 the
him.
man.
because I look
You
so
look
much
just
like
like him.
Yeah.
my biological father. And she lets Andy know, and she goes, and Andy's like, "Hey, that's great. We can't contact him.
Yeah.
Like, we're not going to contact him when he's 18, or when he decides to contact us. That's great,
Yeah.
but we can't contact him." And I had always known I wanted to meet Andy. Like, I'd always had a yearning to meet him. Like, I knew I would. I didn't know what the
Yeah.
circumstances were going to be. I hope they'd be good.
Yeah.
Um, and anyway, my junior year track season, after football seasons ended, it actually, and I actually go back. My sister Abby Hanson, she's
Mhm.
adopted sister, one of the twins actually.
Oh,
She
okay.
had actually, we were in Washington visiting my grandma Cheryl, and
Mhm.
she actually found Andy on Facebook
Oh,
and showed him to me, and I said, "Oh, that's cool. Maybe one day I'll reach out."
yeah.
But anyways,
Mm.
February of my junior year, so only 6 or 8 months later, I just was like, you know what? I'm gonna send him a friend request
Yeah.
on Facebook.
Mm.
I didn't tell my parents about this. I just did
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
because I didn't want too many people to become involved with it.
Yeah.
Send him a Facebook message. He accepted, and I just messaged like, "Hi." Like, it was like the most basic hi. Because what do you say
Yeah.
to somebody? Like, "Hey,
Yeah,
I'm
that
your
I
kid."
don't I wouldn't
Like,
even know
what
what
do
to
you?
say either.
I remember at the time, like, and I look back on it now. I was 17, so this is 10 years ago, and
No,
I look back
you're
and I'm
still
like,
Yeah, you're
oh
young.
man,
still a
like,
kid.
you could, yeah, like with hindsight, could have put together maybe something more meaningful or maybe something more impactful, but just
No,
like, hi.
you're only 17.
Well, yeah,
I
but
So
was
being
17
17 and like
kid,
messaging like your bio father, like what do you even how do you even
and I
start
was
that
terrified.
conversation?
Oh, I was so terrified. I was so terrified
yeah.
to
That you
message
could
this.
even get hello out is good.
I know.
I mean, that was
I don't think
And
I
she
could have done
sent
that.
back
That's a
like
lot.
this super long message that was really meaningful. Like, I've
Yeah.
prayed for this day to come, and like to see the life that you've had. I'm so proud of you, and I'm so
no,
grateful
you're
you
good.
and like. So we actually started like messaging, and he started watching some of like my track meets. My high school had like they have like an incredible broadcast stream.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, that's cool.
Plugged to SVI Media, right? And they just
Yeah.
like broadcast all the games, all the
Oh, that's
track
awesome.
meets. So they're able to watch me compete. And then I started like Andy like messaged me and he's like, "Hey, I just want to know, like, I just need Kellen, like, I just need to make sure that your parents are okay that we're talking."
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Like
up until this point, you still hadn't said
I
anything.
hadn't told them. I remember I had a really hard time telling my mom and dad. Or I told my mom first. I didn't tell my dad. I don't even know if I told my dad. I think my mom told my dad. But the
Mm-hmm.
the reason why like it was really hard for me to tell was because like I wasn't at that point that scared of being rejected. I think I had a harder time telling my dad than my mom cuz and I'm going to get emotional again. I was so terrified of making him feel
Yeah.
like I was invalidating him, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Because I am
Yeah.
amazing. I have the best dad.
Yeah.
Um, I have the best dad. I didn't want him to feel like he wasn't enough or that like I was seeking after Andy because I wanted something else in a father figure. Like that wasn't
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I told my mom and I told my dad, or she told my dad, I think, and they were aware of it and they were okay with it. Like they were fine. They just wanted to make sure like that one, they wanted to make sure I didn't get hurt because they didn't know the
Yes.
guy, and they told me like,
Yes.
"Don't have we don't need to have too many expectations for this because we don't want to see you get hurt."
Yeah. Because
And
yeah, 'cause they didn't know anything about him
they
really.
didn't want they didn't want they didn't want anything harmful to happen to me, right?
Yeah, they wanted to protect you.
But anyways, time went on, right? And we talked more and we talked over the summer and eventually um and they allowed us to have this dialogue and we talk on the phone and
Yeah.
became very apparent to me and not only that but like after that like my grandma added me on Facebook, my uncles, my Andy has two uncles, my uncle
Hmm.
Brent, my uncle Mike, they added me on Facebook and we were corresponding and then as you know my senior football season gets ready to start, um, I obviously was, you know, having a really good career and the season starts. And it's funny because like the commentators are talking about like, man, like Kellen Hansen has a lot of support from the state of Washington um and um season's going on. I'm having a really good season. Team's doing really well as well. And Andy decides, you know, he lets me know like, hey, like if it's okay with you, me, my girlfriend, Rochelle, and my parents would like to come out and watch you on your senior night for football.
Oh, wow. You on
Okay with
senior
you,
night too.
if it's okay with you and your parents.
Hmm.
And I talked to my parents about it and they were like, yeah, like that's great. We actually love that because he's going to be coming to you. He's going to be in our
Yeah.
home. We're
Yeah.
going to be able to see it, make sure everything's kosher, make sure that they're good people and we'll get to meet them and all my siblings like came home. The only one I had one my brother Rocky, one of the twins. He was on a mission at this point.
Oh,
He was in the Philippines.
okay.
But all my other siblings came home for it. Like
Oh,
for that game to meet Andy.
yeah, that's
Oh,
And
that's
awesome.
so sweet.
it
Yeah.
was so cool, and I'll never forget when they came up. It was the craziest thing. Like I remember there was like so much excitement. I was nervous, but also like I figured it was going to be okay.
Hmm.
And you know, they knock on the door and it's Wyoming in October and I open it and I give Andy a hug and Rochelle and my grandma Jackie. And it was weird because it felt really natural and it
Yeah.
actually wasn't like super emotional
Hmm.
with Andy or Rochelle or my grandma Jackie.
Hmm.
It was when my grandpa Joe came through the door. I'm
Oh,
gonna get emotional. I cry a lot. I'm sorry.
you're good.
I'm
No,
an
you're good.
emotional
You're
person.
good. No,
I
we
will
don't have a
never
problem.
forget. Like he came through the door and he just grabbed me. Like he just
Oh,
Oh.
embraced me. And afterwards, like he kind of let go. He put his hands on my shoulder and he looked me in the eyes, and I could just see the tears in his eyes.
Mm.
And he just looked at me with like so much unconditional love. It was
yeah.
incredible
Yeah.
and it was amazing because like when you're adopted, you just seek that validation, right?
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
And when he looked at me like that, it was validation of you were always wanted, you were
Yeah.
always loved. Um, and it was beautiful. And like the
Yeah.
night went on, they ended up, I think they were in Afton for like 3 or 4 days. And it was funny because my mom had, for my senior night, like she'd custom ordered all these jerseys
Mm-hmm.
with my
Oh,
name
that's
and my
cool.
number, and she
Yeah.
had them for like all my siblings. And it was really funny because she actually told the lady, 'cause the lady that made the jerseys is really good friends with my mom, and she told him
Yeah.
like, I want you to make these jerseys, and if I give you the thumbs up that they're good people, we'll give them to them, and if not, we won't. Anyway, she gave him the thumbs up. She gave him the thumbs up because after
Yeah.
her days, like um, they, we just, it was obvious like these people are just incredible people.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Um, anyway, we ended up, the senior night for football came, and they do the senior walk where we walk midfield. They announce all the seniors' names, and they walk out
Mhm.
with their parents. And I
Yeah.
had arranged for my parents to do the walk with me.
Mhm.
And then I have a best friend. His name's Darren. He's my cousin, and Darren is incredible. He's about, I think he's 9 or 10 years older than me. Darren has Down syndrome.
Okay.
Mhm.
It's like my best friend. Like we've been like just super close. And so he was gonna walk with me and my parents. And right before we were about to do the walk, my mom was like, "Hey, do you want Andy to come do this walk with you? To
Oh,
walk on?"
wow.
And I said, "Yeah, do it." So Andy actually got to walk with me and my parents and Darren for my
Wow.
senior night. And there's
Wow.
really cool pictures, and Andy was having a really hard time not getting emotional because,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
and Andy just loved football, and it was his passion. He was a great football player as well.
Yeah.
Um, anyway, so we ended up having that moment. We won the game, and
Oh,
then he
that's it.
told
That's the
me,
icing on the cake right
he
there.
said,
Mhm.
"You guys make the state championship. Like me and Rochelle are going to come to that game too."
Oh,
And we ended up
Wow.
making the state championship,
oh, cool.
and we won the state championship again. I
Awesome.
played really well in that game, had another really good football season. And it was really cool because my junior year when we won the state championship, the first person that I hugged was my dad,
Uh-huh.
and he
Mhm.
was the first person that I found. And my senior year, the first person that I hugged was Andy. Um,
Mhm.
and we just like had this incredible moment, and it was just like, and it's so cool because like I remember like throughout after that, like I went up to Seattle. Um, Andy and Rochelle, it was funny. We were eating dinner, um, and while we're eating dinner, and getting to know them that first night, like my 80-something-year-old grandma at the time, my grandma Horse, I actually posted a video about her as well. She said, like, just out
Cute.
of the blue, like, so Andy, when are you gonna make Rochelle an honest woman and marry her? And it's like, oh my goodness, grandma. But Andy responded, he's like, yeah, before Kellen leaves on his mission.
Oh,
Um, and everybody with my grandma and grandpa Phillips were like, whoa, like, because
Oh, okay.
about
I
marriage.
didn't
Even
even,
Rochelle had, because they'd been dating for like 5 or 6 years.
yeah. So she was
But
even shocked that he said
he
that.
was even surprised because she'd been wanting to get married for a while too.
Yeah.
Um, but I think part of it was, Andy they'd been dating for years. I think they'd been dating for 5 or 6. Andy hadn't told Rochelle that he had a son.
Oh,
Okay.
And I think part of it was like he felt like he needed to tell her that before they got married.
yeah.
And
Mhm.
so when he did tell her, she was like, he was really nervous, and she was like, "Oh my goodness, you have a son! Like that's
Like,
great!"
Oh,
Like
cool.
she was so amazing about it.
yeah.
Anyway, so I ended up going and seeing them, and like they came down for my high school graduation. I was able to be a groomsman at their wedding,
Oh, that's awesome.
2 weeks before I went on my mission to Bolivia.
That's cool.
Wow.
And it was super cool, and I ended up having an amazing conversation with my dad, um, that, like, totally silenced all my worries that I'd had previously, and he just, like, pulled me aside, and he's like, "I don't care if you call Andy dad."
Hmm.
Like, he's
Mhm.
like, "I don't care." He's like, "Andy's awesome." He's like, "And I love you, and you and I have an amazing relationship, and, like,
Mhm.
you're my son and I'm your dad, and that doesn't and you having Andy as another father figure in your life doesn't invalidate that. It's just the more safe people that love you, the better."
Yeah.
Exactly.
And so, like, that invalidated it, just showed how awesome my dad is,
Yeah.
and, anyways, it was cool, like, my parents have become great friends with my grandpa Joe and my grandma Jackie, and Andy and Rochelle are, like, they've while I was on my mission, like, my parents went up to Seattle to visit my grandma Cheryl, and while they were there, they went and saw Andy and Rochelle too, and, like,
awesome.
Um, I don't know. They're just like
This
they're all
big,
great
huge
friends.
family.
It's that's exactly what it is. It's just
One big
everybody's
family.
family. Everybody loves each other. Everybody has positive feelings. And while I was on my mission in Bolivia, I had about 6 months left, 6, 7 months left, and Andy and Rochelle actually had a baby while I was out.
Oh,
So I have a little brother. I have a little brother
Oh,
named Joey. He he just turned 7.
oh,
Uh,
wow.
he just turned 7,
that's
and
awesome.
That's so cool.
he's awesome. He's just like I always wanted to be a big brother. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I always wanted to have a little
Well, because
sibling.
you're the baby, you want
I
to
was a
kind of have
baby.
that too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I got that as a 20-year-old.
Yeah.
And it's a big age gap, but man,
Yeah.
I
That's
love my
so
little
fun.
brother. He's like the greatest little
Yeah.
kid.
Well, see, my
Uh,
youngest sister, it's more than 20 years. So,
yeah. And it's so cool because like even though like there is that age gap, like he's just my baby brother. Like
yeah.
he always
Yeah.
Hmm.
will be, and like
That's adorable.
and
How old are
he's
your kids?
yeah. So I my oldest daughter Kelly, who we named after my birth mom Kelly,
Mhm.
is 4. She just
Okay.
turned 4 in December.
Okay.
And then Scotty, who is named in honor of my grandpa Scott, actually, who he passed away from cancer in
Yeah.
2015.
Yeah.
Um, so she will be 2 in March,
Okay.
and
Hmm.
they love their Uncle Joey,
Yeah.
like
Oh,
because
I
they're
bet
I'm
they have the
sure.
best time.
I can
and
imagine.
and Andy and Rochelle, they love their grandpa Andy and their mama Shell.
Yeah.
And they've come and visited us, and we when we go to Seattle because we see them, and they actually so I'm actually I graduated after my mission. I went to a school in Wyoming, Western Wyoming Community College, got an associate's, went to BYU, got a bachelor's, and then my wife and I actually moved out to Tennessee a year and a half ago. I'm in a master's program at the University of Tennessee, and I'll finish up this fall. And they actually came out in March of this last year for Scotty's first birthday.
Oh,
Um,
that's
Oh, how
awesome.
fun.
yeah.
That's awesome. So, what are you getting your master's in?
So sport management. Um,
Okay.
Yeah,
I actually, yeah. So
naturally.
I love sports, and that's been my passion my entire life. I originally wanted to go the sports broadcasting route, got a degree in sports in journalism with an emphasis on sports media at BYU. Then decided I wanted to work more on the administrative side of sports. So I actually work for the athletic department in athletic hospitality here
Oh,
at the University of Tennessee, and then I'm a graduate teaching assistant for the sports management program, teaching PE
oh,
courses as well, and I love that. And we get to be around a lot of Tennessee athletics and
yeah.
cheer on the Vols. We're taking the girls to a Lady Vols basketball game tonight, so that'll be fun.
Oh,
Oh, how
awesome. How
fun.
fun is that? That's adorable. So, we appreciate you telling your story. I can hear your little ones laughing in the background.
They
So cute.
are they are the most energetic girls, and it's really cool. I mean, just like it's been fun. We named them Kelly, we named them Scotty,
Yeah.
because we wanted them to have ties to their
Yeah.
um, so it's Kelly Marie. Marie is my wife's middle name and her mom's middle name, and then it's Scotty
Mhm.
Michelle. Michelle's my mom, Jenny Hansen. That's her middle name, so we named her
Okay.
after her. Um, we've done, especially with their grandma Kelly, like we have made her a part of their lives. Like they have a picture of her, and we always talk about their grandma Kelly. They know who their grandma Kelly is.
Oh,
Kelly
so good.
especially talks about her grandma Kelly all the time and how she lives in heaven.
Yeah.
Um, it's been cool.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I have to ask too, though, your name. Where did your name come from?
Yeah. So my parents had a hard time naming me, and they actually really liked Kellen,
Okay.
um, because they knew a Kellen that they really liked. Um, I actually have a cousin named Kellen, which is a little confusing. Kellen Hansen. He's an awesome guy too. And then Kelly, my birth mom, her middle name is Lynn. Her name is Kelly Lynn, and they
Okay.
kind of thought it
Oh.
would be cool to tie in Kellen with Kelly Lynn. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay. So that I was wondering if it had anything to do
yeah,
with your biological mom, with your name,
Oh,
because
that's so cool.
I personally have never heard of Kellen before
yeah.
at all. Have you?
Well,
Besides
there's the
Tim.
Twilight actor, Kellen Lutz.
Oh,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
guess I don't pay enough
But it's
attention.
still not that common of a name.
Yeah, it's not a super common name.
I like names that aren't common.
Yeah.
Oh, you wouldn't
Helps
know
you
her with
stand
Alyssa.
out.
Yeah, but when I picked out her name, there was no Alyssas around. And then
Yeah.
she hit school and everyone's named
Yeah,
Alyssa.
there was three Alyssas in one class and it like freaked me out. I'm like, where were you guys this whole time? I was like by myself with this name and now we all have the same name. It was like really weird.
Well, I didn't want that for her because growing up, Heidi was real popular in my age group. Um,
Yeah.
I was stuck with like 3 to 4 Heidis in every class I went to. It was quite annoying.
Yeah.
We've
But then
we've
my
yeah.
husband got to name the boys, and that got thrown out the window because he did Christopher and Zachary. I'm like, oh, do you do any more common names? Then
We found that,
Christopher
like,
and then Zachary.
yeah, we found that like with the name Kelly, like, there's a lot of Kellys, but it's not a super common name that you hear anymore.
Yeah.
Like,
That's
not a lot of
interesting.
people now are naming their girls Kelly. So Kelly's
No.
a little bit.
Yeah.
And then Scotty, like, is actually becoming more popular with girls. We've
Is
noticed.
that? Yeah.
Um, we've heard it several times. We know people that have named their girls Scotty.
I haven't.
I
S
don't hear
O
that one either.
Sottie.
Yeah. Not in Utah.
Yeah,
No, it's not a Utah name.
not yet. It's making its way. It's
It's
making its
gonna
way.
come. It's gonna
Yeah,
come
we'll
around.
see.
It's gonna come around. Well, considering that um I'm well over having children again, and then I don't think I'm having grandkids anytime soon, so we won't have to worry about it.
Well, not yet.
Not yet.
Not right now, but
She's my oldest, and she's like,
eventually.
no.
I need to figure out myself before I can take care of
That's so
actual
true.
human
Yeah.
beings and keep them alive.
That's
No. It's so true.
so
It's so
true.
true.
So
Sometimes I still feel like I'm trying to figure out this whole parenting thing.
you
I don't
always
think
will.
anybody ever no one has it figured
No,
out.
because even my kids at their ages, okay, this might throw you, but she's 31.
Oh wow.
So and she
Yeah.
and she's my oldest. So I still have parenting issues. They all still live in my home. So
Yeah.
I'm like, if you don't want mom to parent you, then you have to move out.
Yeah.
otherwise, otherwise, mom's gonna insert a
Yeah.
little here and there.
And my parents always have that. I mean, my parents are still my parents.
Yeah.
It
They
never
still
No.
stops.
they still have that influence.
No, yeah. She was frustrated with her dad last night because she left and he called her to see where she went, and then he made me call her to see where she was, like no less than
Yeah.
3 minutes later.
I love that.
Yeah, it never stops. Never stop being just mom and
No,
dad worrying.
no, mm-mm,
I
no,
love that.
always. Well, I appreciate you coming on and sharing your
Yeah.
story, and we're gonna have to wrap up. But I always like
Yeah.
to ask one question or two. Is there are you glad you were adopted? Which I kind of think I know the answer to that. And then, is there anything that you would like to tell a future adopted family that you think that they should know, or an
Just any
adoptee
just
advice?
message to anybody
Yeah.
Yeah,
out in the adoptive world that you think that people should know.
Yeah. Um, so grateful I'm adopted.
yeah,
Probably one of the best gifts I've ever received in my life. And so blessed that I was adopted into the family I was, and that I was adopted by the people I was. Um, and both of my those families are just biological and adopted are incredible. I
mhm,
guess the thing I would say for any adopted kid or adopted family is that adoption is beautiful. It's not a thing to be tiptoe around, to be ashamed of. There's a lot of emotions that come with it. It's very complex, but just know that blood isn't what makes family. Love is what makes family.
Hmm.
And um, there are going to be a lot of things that are difficult when it comes to adoption and raising an adopted child or being adopted. Um,
mhm,
but allow yourself to process those things. Be transparent. Seek for opportunities to connect your child with their biological family if it's safe for them. I would always recommend that. Um, again, every circumstance is different. Sometimes it's not ideal for that. But just know that like I said earlier, you can never be loved by too many safe people.
Mhm.
And yeah,
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
I agree with all of that. So that's one thing that we kind of, I'm doing this podcast for over almost 2 years, I think
Yeah,
now.
there's just a lot of stigma with adoption. Nobody really talks about it. So it's great that
Yeah.
you, as another adoptee, is just sharing that. It is such a beautiful thing.
Yes, and that it can be, there's ups and downs to it, and it's very complex. It's like a roller coaster ride, but it's all worth it in the end, right?
yeah.
So
Hmm.
you go through all of it. I would go through everything again if I had to have the same outcome.
God makes all different types of families.
He does. He
It's
does.
a
So
beautiful
true.
thing.
So true. Oh, yes, he does. I mean, he definitely had a hand in yours, but I believe he had a hand in mine too. So,
Yes, man.
but yes, thank you for coming on, and thank you for that.
Yes.
I'm going to have Alyssa close us out, and I hope you have a wonderful weekend, even though you got one more day.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much for having me on. It's been a pleasure.
You're
Yes,
welcome.
everybody check him out. That one adopted guy on TikTok. We'll link it in the description.
Yeah.
And then like and subscribe for more real adoption stories just like his. And if you want to learn more about adoption, you can visit our website at www.activeadoptions.com.